Still, it is the first time we've heard from him in a long time, and it is intriguing.
For everything that happened since 2005, all the things said in the media, everything I feel guilty for, yeah.
Guilty is how Joran van der Sloot says he feels. For his family's shame, his father's heart attack, for not listening to his mother, and all the lies he admits he's told these years.
I was doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have been doing, and mostly only going out all the night and sleeping all the day. I've always been very, how you call it, impulsive. Always been take action right away, make a decision immediately, and not think about what the consequences are.
He explains why he's told so many wildly differing stories about what happened to Natalie Holloway in Aruba.
People were paying me to make up stories, and I was really good at making up stories. Everybody keeps coming at you, asking you questions, asking you stuff, and yeah, you don't know something, and finally you start to think, okay, well if you want something, then I'll tell you whatever you want to hear. Sure. I misused the situation for my own advantage, and I feel bad about that, and if I could change that, I would take it back for sure.
But 3 months locked up in a Peruvian prison awaiting trial for murder have brought this 23-year-old no closer, it seems, to just saying once and for all what was his role in either of the two awful cases in which he's suspected.
I told you anything pertaining to the case, I'm not gonna talk about.
Of the murder of Peruvian student Stephanie Flores, seen on surveillance video, police say, playing poker with him in May on the anniversary of Natalie Holloway's disappearance. Investigators say they went to his hotel room, but only he left. She was found beaten and suffocated inside.
It's not in my best interest to talk about it at all.
Joran insists he was tricked by police into confessing in great detail to the murder. Says they promised him extradition to Aruba.
They didn't let me call my mom. They didn't let me talk to anybody. They didn't let me arrange my own lawyer.
So is the confession false?
I'm saying it's not in my interest at all to talk about this.
His interest is still his main concern. What Joran does admit to, though, is extortion, accepting $25,000 from Natalie Holloway's family in exchange for the location of her remains. He says he simply made up another story.
I have had 5 years long that people have just been blaming me for something, and yeah, I have a lot of anger built up because of that also. And yeah, at one point I just thought that, okay, you know, you keep insisting that you want to give me this money. I've already told a lot of different stories. I'll do it again. And yeah, I know it's very wrong what I did.
He says he knows nothing about what really happened to Natalie. Says he's doing this interview because he's been portrayed as a monster. And while Joran never explains why people should see him any differently, he expresses some words for the Flores family.
I feel really bad that our family had to lose a daughter. It really does hurt me, and I think about it all the time.
But did he kill her or not?
When I speak to the judge and the time is right, I'm gonna tell the whole truth, absolutely.
Joran says he wishes he had followed his mother's plan to send him to a psychiatric clinic in Holland.
Really felt guilty for everything.
Instead, he took the Holloway family's money and came to Peru to gamble, where another young woman disappeared, last seen with him. It could be a year or more behind bars before trial.
It's a whole web of problems, but I created all of them myself, so yeah, I have to deal with it now, deal with the consequences.
Joran says he's been trying to make the most of his time by reading inspirational books and encouraging letters from Americans. Now, there was this urgency among Aruban investigators to get down there to Peru and try to talk to him about the Holloway case. But now you talk to the chief prosecutor and he says, well, he's told so many stories over the years, he now has real doubts that he would give them anything of interest. Meredith.
Michelle Kaczynski, thank you so much. John Q. Kelly is an attorney representing Natalee Holloway's mother, Beth Twitty. Good morning to you, John.
Meredith, hi.
Hi. As we just heard, Joran admitted to extorting money from the Holloway family, but he said he did so because he was angry that they were, in his words, blaming him for 5 years. How did Natalee's mom, Beth Twitty, react to that?
I think in deference to Beth, I won't repeat what she said about what he had to say, but you know, it's always spin with Joran. He's always a victim. He's always, you know, seeking attention. He's always misunderstood, and someday he's absolutely going to tell the truth. I've heard those words from him so many times, and he's a pathological liar.
You know, you met with him this year twice. You're the one who gave him that initial $10,000 from Beth Twitty,
sure,
in exchange, hopefully, for information about the whereabouts of her daughter's body. Were you surprised at his willingness to admit to extortion?
Well, he doesn't have much choice. I've got, you know, 3.5 weeks of emails, about 50 emails I exchanged with him, and I've got 3.5 hours of videotape and audio tape of the whole, you know, scenario as it played out. So he doesn't have to admit to anything. It's all memorialized.
And yet he claims that it was the Holloway family that initiated this exchange of emails.
No, not even close. You know, that's a spin once again. He contacted me directly, you know, in a sort of pathetic, you know, desperate way. He was asking for money, demanding money in exchange for information, and the whole premise of giving him the money was understanding that he was ultimately going to lie. We knew that. We knew he was going to lie, and that was going to make out the basis for the wire fraud.
You know, he's now in jail or prison in Peru awaiting a trial for murder. He's also got this indictment for extortion and wire fraud in the U.S. You would think he would want to stay out of the public eye. Why do you think he chose to do this interview, especially since he didn't divulge any great information?
It's attention-seeking behavior. He always wants to be. Simple as that. He wants to be in the spotlight. When he contacted me about the money, he wasn't even on my radar screen. He came out of nowhere. Now for months he's been sitting down in Peru, rotting in prison. No one paid attention to him, and he wants to be out there again. He just can't help himself. Yet
when he says that he's apologetic about some of his behavior, he regrets some of his behavior, do you believe him?
No, I've got you know, the 20 emails where he says, you know, he's you know, very sorry for what happened. He's going to tell the truth. Absolutely, that's his favorite word, and you know, he's going to come clean this time. And he's just incapable of it.
Do you see any circumstance where he would tell the truth?
Sure. I think fear and self-preservation. It's not conscience. It's not, you know, sympathy for the families. It's not respect out of his own families. It's not for money. I think the only thing that can make him want to tell the truth is, you know, protecting Joran.
Will he ever face the U.S. courts?
I hope so. I mean, everybody's talking about how he might get out of Peruvian prisons because he was unjustly arrested. But if he does, there's a hold on him, and he'll be coming right to an Alabama prison. So he's not going anywhere for a long, long time.
All right, John Q. Kelly, thank you so much.
Sure, Meredith, thank you.
And then we'll have a special report, Joran behind bars. That's Friday night at 10, 9 Central Time, right here on NBC. Now let's get a check of the weather from Al.
And thanks a lot, Meredith.